Micky Bartlett.
Man, good to see you.
Good to see you, dude.
I should say right now, I did a podcast with Dan Muggleton a couple of days ago, and apparently I breathe quite heavily on these mics, so if you do hear this, it's just the years of smoking and vaping that have got me like...
How are you? Are you vaping now?
No, I stopped just before Christmas, but I've dabbled a little bit in between shows here.
Of course.
Because just the need for nicotine or something to do.
Yes.
In between shows has me having little hits.
So you've quit vaping like I've quit vaping in the sense of you don't have one, you don't own one.
Yeah.
But even if like a homeless dude has one, you're
dude,
like, how are you, brother?
If I find one in the trash, I'm like, oh my God. I actually found one in my girlfriend's house that was like a dead one around Christmas time, and I was like, I'll have a little puff of that, and it had been like lying there for like 3 months, and I hit it and immediately went, oh fuck. I thought I was sick for like a week.
I thought you were going to say it was a vibrator.
I'm not smoking that, dude. It's been up my ass. What are you talking about? Yuck.
Here we are. Oh, that's great.
Boys.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. But listen, pleasure to be with you. Pleasure to have you here in Perth, Western Australia for our Fringe. I want to get to know you, man. I want you to take me through the journey, early days. Where are you born? Where are you based?
So I was born in a town called Craigavon, and I basically grew up in a town called Lurgan, which is Northern Ireland's punchline. It's got a reputation for being the shittiest town in Northern Ireland. For a long time, it was the capital of the murder triangle during the sort of troubled days of Northern Ireland. Wow. It was, and it wasn't. We didn't have the most murders. We just had some fucking good ones. Do you know what I mean?
Some real brutal ones that put you on the map.
Belters, yeah. And so yeah, it was kind of like just a typical sort of growing up working class place. Bombs going off, bullets.
I don't know how to break it to you, man. That ain't typical.
That was typical for us.
Just bombs going off,
Like, I remember one time when I was a kid, I was about 6, and my mum had gone to do some shopping, and there was a bomb scare. Like someone had phoned in, like, we're going to blow the shopping centre up. So everyone starts running out, and I'm in the car with my little sister who's like 3, and I'm just like, the fuck's going on? People are running. And then the shutters go down, and I'm like, oh fuck. Like, mum's not coming out. I guess I'm driving home. I don't know. And then my mum rolls under the shutter with her shopping because she was just so used to it. She was like, I fucking don't give a shit. I'll just walk through this stuff. So that was my childhood, was growing up with people with PTSD.
Watching mum commando roll
dude, like
with
Indiana
the groceries.
Jones, like Indiana Jones with frozen chicken. Just like... It'll be fine. Stop crying.
We're good. I'm not sacrificing tea. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the hardened upbringing you have.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of grew up in the last sort of days of the trouble, so it wasn't as bad.
Sure.
But it still gave us and people in my generation like the kind of dark sense of humour that a lot of people in Northern Ireland have, of just kind of getting on with things and laughing about stuff. And I kind of grew up in my parents grew up Catholic, but I had a lot of family that were in the British Army, because my dad's the youngest of like 8, and there was a point where it made sense if you were from a working class area to join the army and just fuck off. So it ended up with like 3 generations of people in the army, and then I've got other family members who were in a different army that isn't really legal, and I just couldn't tell anyone. So I think that it's part of the reason why I became a comic. I think because I grew up on the outside of a bunch of different social circles. Do you know what I mean?
Because having to play to different crowds, essentially.
Yeah, totally. So, like, I remember once coming home from school, and there were still soldiers patrolling the streets. And I went to Catholic school, so all the kids were like, "Oh, you bastards!" So, like, the soldiers. And I look out the window, and it was my cousin. So I had to be like, "Don't tell mum." Like, so that was kind of the start of it. Like, and then I still live in Lurgan. I still live in that little shithole town because I find everyone to be very nice. Yeah, so that's, and then I went to uni and studied drama because I thought that'd be a good way to become a comic. It was a complete waste of time and money. There was no point in doing it. I didn't realize you could just go to a pub and be like, "Can I get on next week?"
Now, what I mean? What drama school was this? I mean, was this a full-fledged?
No, not even. It was just a drama course at a university. So they kind of hoodwinked us because we had to do like an audition to get in. And they told us it was like lots of practical stuff, and it was mostly on stage and all this sort of stuff. And then on the first day, they're like, if you want to be a performer, you're in the wrong place. And I was like, well, I've already spent the money. Like,
what were they saying you're there for then?
Yeah, they were like, oh yeah, it's a lot of reading, it's a lot of theory, a lot of books. So I just drank for 3 years. And
3 years?
Yeah, dude, I was there 3 years. I tried to leave 3 times a year. And the head of the course, every time I went to leave, he'd be like, this is a vocation for you. And I'd be like, yeah, I am talented. And then I would stay. And then I remember when I graduated, like I'm walking across the stage and I looked up and that cunt was asleep. Like he didn't even watch it. And I was like, yeah, I looked at you like my dad for 3 years, man. I give you all this money. I've got sclerosis now, like chlamydia.
That was unrelated.
Oh, yeah, no, that was the same time.
Oh,
I
right.
was real drunk.
It wasn't from him, though.
Oh, no. That was gonorrhea, who I thought was a playwright.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you get a 3-year drama degree under the belt, and then you actually do what you should have done in the first place. You head to a pub and you start the stand-up. What year is this in?
So, well, I did my first gig in 2005 when I was still at uni. So I did one where I had a guy on my course was like, I'll be your manager. And this is awful. I shouldn't say this on the internet, but he had a really bad stammer, right? So he starts telling me about the set. And he goes, you've got like, and he's stammering through it. And I just assume he means 20 to 30 minutes for the first gig. Because I'm like, that's about how good I am. Never done it before. And I turn up. And the guy that ran the club was like, right, you've got like 2 to 3 minutes in between the actual acts. So I'm like, fuck, I've written a half-hour set. None of this is going to fit. So I just got hammered and started trying to like riff off what I've seen in the room. And they had this banner, like one of those kind of early noughties comedy club banners. And it was a cow with like a tongue and a microphone. And my first line was, that kind of looks like me trying to get a blowjob from my girlfriend. And no one laughed. And I went, I'm not saying my girlfriend's a cow, but she does have weird looking tits. And then it got a laugh and I was like, I'm fucking good at it. And then the booze kicked in and I couldn't remember a fucking thing. And it was like, everything was underwater. It was just like, I think at one point the tech had told me I had about 40 foot of mic cable. So I just started running up and down the stage to see how long the mic cable was. I did like 2.5 minutes, came off like, I'm the fucking king of the world. And then my buddy showed me the video of it on like a really grainy 2005 phone, whatever it was. And his girlfriend was there and his girlfriend just went, no one's laughing. Like, and then I did it.
Add insult to
injury.
injury.
Man. And I did it 2 more times. And the third time, I did it. I did so badly that the MC had gone off and gotten changed into like a red leather catsuit and a wig because he was going to do like a Britney Spears lip sync thing. And I was doing so badly, he just came on stage and just took the mic off me. He just took it, just fucking out of my hand. And I had to walk out of this club, like the Students' Union, I could hear people looking at me. Like I could hear pints settling. You know what I mean? I could hear Guinness flow properly. And like the door closed behind me and I hear, bow down, down, oh baby, baby. I was like, fuck.
Oh, and they're back.
Oh, dude, I just walked home alone. I think I just sank a bottle of vodka in my student flat. So I was like, I'm never doing that again.
So this is circa 2005.
Yeah.
You have a trauma. You have a full-fledged
dude,
trauma.
It was fucking bad. And then coming towards the end of uni, I was like, shit, I'm going to have to go into the actual world of work. Like all I'd done was been in school my whole life, so I didn't, that was the only structure. And I'm like, shit, okay, I'll have to do stand-up again. And I did it for like a Students' Union competition. And I won this heat. And then I went to the Empire Comedy Club in Belfast the next week. And they were like, we can put you on next Tuesday. And I just thought, right, if I do well, if I do 5 minutes or 7, whatever it was, and it goes all right, I'll just keep going. So I crushed it. And then that was it. I pretty much just kept going. And then I had a little thing. I was like, if I can get on TV within like 2 years, it's going all right. I did that. And then I was like, right, if I can get on TV and get paid for it within another year, and then that happened. I was like, all right, if I can get on like a fucking panel show. So within the sort of first 5 years, I'd hit all these little sort of goals, and then found myself going, oh, I don't know what to do now. Like, so it was just years of trying to get into clubs and like, because I based myself in Belfast, it was hard to break into the scene in the UK because I didn't have enough money to travel and stay in hotels and do open mics. So it was a lot of just kind of like just banging my head against a wall. And then luckily, like in Northern Ireland, we've had a bit of a boom in the last sort of 4 or 5 years.
Oh, yeah?
From a bunch of guys just doing podcasts and online things. And TV never went near us. There was never any sort of industry interest in Northern Ireland. And so it went from like scraping a living to all of a sudden we're all filling out theatres and like guys were doing arenas and shit like
That's
that.
fucking
So it's
great,
like,
man.
So it's fun, man. Yeah, it's nice to finally have like some money, not lots, but like some. Like
Yeah.
I'm not overdrawn.
Yeah, of
You know?
course.
So yeah, that's the story. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
No, man, pleasure. Honestly, it's good to hear because obviously going through the journey there, starting as harshly as you did, and you said you go home and you sink a bottle of vodka after this pre-Britney Spears trauma.
Yeah.
what then makes you come back, man? Because obviously you're setting all these goals and you're on your way, but in between that moment, there must have been something in you that was like, no, I can do this. I got to get back out there.
Yeah, I think it was like, I think I'm lucky in that the 2 times that it had gone really well, I could still feel that. So the sort of the Britney Spears is still to this day the worst bomb, one of the worst bombs I've ever had. So I kind of look back on it going, I'm glad that happened so early, and I was still young and sort of ignorant enough to be like, nah, fuck it, I'm going to keep going.
Neurologically flexible.
Yeah, just like
brain could
ping, doesn't matter. And then there were years of like just bombing. I think every 3rd gig I would bomb. And sometimes it wouldn't be your fault. It would just be, the room wasn't set up rightly, or it's just a fucking, a shitty pub somewhere, and the TV's still on. There's guys playing darts or whatever. And I think it was. But I always wanted to do it. That was the thing. When I was like, I remember when I was 12 and we learned about the birds and the bees, like sex education in a Catholic school. One of the guys in my class had smoked a joint, and we were watching this video of a priest and a nun talking directly to the camera, telling us how to have sex. And this guy went, fuck. And I remember thinking, that's going in my set. But it wasn't a new thought. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember thinking, I want to be a comedian. But I remember thinking, that's going in my set. And it being a recurrent thought.
Wow, so you had these the filter early.
Yeah.
Of a comic, just absorbing life and being like, that's funny, and I'm going to communicate that someday. Which
is kind of a weird thing. I always think, was there ever a moment where I went, that's what I want to do? And I can't remember one. Yeah. But just, it always weirds me out that I went, oh, yeah, that was a very normal process for me at that point, at 12.
Yeah. Well, it's intrinsic, man. It's obviously something built in. But writing, it's something that all comics fucking want to talk about in terms of how do you come up with material. But over the years of your career, what have you developed? What have you found to be the best thing for you?
Doing something else at the same time. So, like, I find that I'll let dishes pile up for like a week, and then be like, right, we'll have a writing session on Wednesday, and I'll just wash dishes. And while I'm doing it, I'll maybe put a comedy album on, and kind of just listen to like rhythm and laughter, and I think sometimes I'll start off doing a joke in the rhythm of the comedian I'm listening to, which is a weird thing. I think sometimes feel like I'm stealing jokes, but I'll be running through something in my head. I'm like, all right. And then by the end of that sort of half hour, I'm like, okay, I reckon there's maybe something here. And I'll go down to an open mic or a club, see if I can jump on, eat shit, and be like, there's still one laugh there. So then we'll build on that one, change it. So it's usually like I don't really write it down. I find that I've got a better standard of written English than I do of vocabulary. So when I write it out, it sounds like some fucking beautiful poet. But that is not who I am. I'm a fucking fat piece of shit. So it doesn't make sense for me to be on stage, whimsical when I'm like, really? I'm like, do you ever fart so bad on lift falls? Like, or whatever. So
writing it out like it's a fucking haiku.
Yeah, with a quill.
In cursive.
Yeah, so I just have to kind of bomb a lot. And then...
Is that your process even today? Like, I mean, I love the idea that you would have something else passively going on. So it's not just you, the void, and trying to come up with funny shit.
Yeah, I can't do it that way. Like, that just reminds me that I can't think of anything funny. Yes. If I'm in an empty room and it's quiet, I'm just sitting there going, I'm shit at this. Yeah. Then the imposter syndrome kicks in. You're like, well, what else can you do? Can you get a job? Can you work in a call center? You can work in a call center, So yeah, like I'll be doing dishes or driving, going for walks and shit. It's usually the thing that really clicks it in. It's a nightmare for my partner because she'll come back from a hard day's actual work, and I'm like, guess who's got ideas, baby? She's like, can I sit down for a second? I'm like, no, shut the fuck up, listen to this. What if?
Like, do you run material by?
Yeah. She hates it. She fucking hates it. And she's a comic as well, so she's just like, I don't know.
Do you find it? I always find that to be a trap because I'll do the same thing. My partner's not a comic, and I'll promise her, I'll swear that I'm not going to get upset if she doesn't laugh. There's no pressure. I just want to run the idea. And it will be met with not an applause break, and I will borderline assault her. I'll just be so upset that she hasn't broken down laughing at my shitty first draft.
Totally, but I think that's the first bomb.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because like when you do it to your partner, you don't perform it the way you're going to perform it on stage.
Totally.
So
and if you do it to your freak show.
Fucking weird as shit. Yeah. You're doing mic technique and shit. Yeah. You're just holding them up. So anyway, airplane food's weird, right? But yeah, that's definitely something that I find as well. It's like I'll do it, and she'll look at me like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Obviously, there's a cadence and things. Yeah.
And then I'll do it like even at the club as well. I'll be honest, I'll be run it by other comics. Like, is this funny? I'm like, would you please stop doing this, man? Just write it down. I'm like, oh shit. I'll phone friends. I had a new bit the other night that I'm basically used the show I had out here to get a new show ready. So I was just phoning mates back in Ireland. Like, dude, is this funny? He's like, man, it's 4 a.m. My kids are going to be up in an hour. I'm like, shut up. I'll whisper. Right. Is this funny? Does Barbie joke work? So yeah, but I think as well as I do tend to get like creative bursts. So I'll have nothing between March and maybe June. Like, where I just can't think of anything.
Now, what happens if you hit a block like that? What have you found anything that'll help clear that quicker?
Nothing. No, I find I just have to write it out. I just have to be like, right, I know what it is now. Because there were years where it was just like, I'm going to quit. That's it. It's over. You had a good run, But now it's just like, all right, this will just pass. Just kind of have to focus on other things and do other stuff. And it tends to go by quicker. The weird bit is now, and maybe it's just getting older, I find a year goes by in a blink. Because the 3 months of block, I'm just like, fucking don't worry about it. Just turn off. Yes. I'm just a zombie walking around. And then I get creative again around sort of April, May time. Yeah. And I go, oh, it's summer. Great. Well, not here, but like at home.
Do you find value in not only just writing new, but refining stuff that you've already found to be fucking great? And you go back over and you're like, no, I think there's maybe more.
Oh, dude, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's one of the things that, like, it's great about the scene in Northern Ireland, especially. It's so small that you have to turn material over really quickly. The problem with it is that half the time you haven't really explored the idea. So 2 or 3 years later, I'll look back through stuff, trying to figure out what I can put in to get a new hour together. And I'll think, they're going to have forgotten that I was talking about that with these added bits in.
Yes.
And then other times where, like, I had a moment where I recorded a special that I put on YouTube, and I threw a new bit into the special, and I watched it back about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, fuck, that would have been so much better if I had just kept it secret.
Yeah, sure.
Added a few more punch in. That would have been like, that could have been a closer.
Draft, now I've got it on 10th draft.
Yeah, I just fucked it in the middle of a show, and I'm like, I could have walked off to a standing ovation of that bad boy.
Yeah, right, man.
But I think that's the thing. It's like, you're never finished. You're never, you constantly have to be creating stuff. Because I don't know how long you've been doing stand-up, but like, when you see comics, have been doing the same set for 20 years. You can see guys come into a room and their eyes aren't in the same room, and that to me is that's the death of stand-up.
It's death.
When you're just repeating it, when you're just blah, 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 blah. I don't know how you can make a living off that anymore anyway.
Yeah, I've felt there are times where we've all had those gigs where you just want it to work. You don't actually want to do comedy. You just hope that you're just going to say the thing and then hopefully they get laughs. You just want to check out, and those are always the worst gigs, even if it goes well, even if you fool them. Yeah. It's when you're hungry for it and you want to work and you want to earn it and you want to be present.
Because there's no better reward, I think, for me, when like, walking off when a new thing has worked, and then when another comic goes, that's fucking great, that new stuff, and you're like,
heaven. You're chasing that high 24/7.
Oh, man,
Micky
absolutely,
Bartlett,
yeah.
Calling the boys up at 4 a.m.
I did a fucking 2,000 seater in Belfast last year, and my girlfriend was sitting with a bunch of comics. I came off and I went, did the comics laugh? She was like, "Cunt, there's 2,000 people."
Still applauding.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm like, no, but did he laugh? Because I know he's already seen it, but did he laugh? Like, but that's the kind of thrill. And I think it's like, you never want to get bored of your material. I've got, I think everyone has their gold club set for whatever. You've got a cracking 15, every second of it. You know where you can go for a drink. You know when you're going to get a small applause break, whatever. And they're fun to do. But realistically, I think the one night when you think this is where I go for a drink and nothing happens is the moment you go, I need to write some new shit.
Yes. Yes.
If that makes sense.
No, it does, yeah. I want to know, because you mentioned earlier that you had these sort of goals and you kicked all of them. You sort of wanted to get on TV within the first 2 years, then you wanted to get paid to get on TV, and setting these goals seemed to sort of give you some validation and some momentum. But what is Micky Bartlett's goals today? That's
a weird one, because right now I'm like, what the fuck are my goals right now? Because it was a weird thing of like, when I was 25 or 26, I opened for a comedian in an arena. It's like 6,500 seater, and I had a great set. And I remember going, well, I'm fucking 26 and I've done everything.
Yes.
Because I didn't care about the money. I just wanted to know what it felt like, And I had the same thing where, like, so in 2022, I did the Waterfront Hall in Belfast, which was 2,200 people. I did a full hour. I got a standing ovation. The dream gig I'd seen fucking so many great comedians on that same stage. And the next night, I went to a pub in a country town where I was doing a gig on a table, and no one turned around when I got on stage. Because I was like, I need to fucking just get that out of my head and go straight back to like the depression side of this. It makes me hungry for it. But then it didn't help, because I remember just thinking, I don't even need the money tonight, man. Like, I'm getting $150. There's a guy playing on a pokey, and I'm eating shit. Like,
this has humbled me too much.
Yeah. With a mic stand that had a crocodile clip, so I couldn't even put the mic back in a bad mood. I had to be like, fuck you people. So I don't know, it's kind of like, I mean, I'm enjoying being out here. So I've got like 5-6 months in Australia. And I think that's probably the focus now, is just to get into more places. And still trying to do it kind of old school, which is just doing live stand-up. I'm not very good at the social media. I'm not great at just making clips and putting things out. I just don't have the attention span. So at the minute, it's just kind of just trying to keep enjoying it. You know?
Yeah, 100%, man.
And then, you know, make $1 million, start taking coke again.
That's the way.
You know?
You don't want to be McGregor in his prime. You want to be McGregor now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want
that
chaos.
bloated steroid face.
The growth hormones. He's just abusing everyone.
Going to be a Universal Soldier sequel.
Yeah, just riding on the coattails of an older version of yourself.
Man.
I can't wait for that for you, Mickey, man. I'm so excited, dude.
I'm going to get a tattoo of bigger man tits on my chest. How's it going, baby?
I want you to get through your prime, and I just want to see you in just full chaos mode.
Oh yeah, man, just missing toes.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Listen, dude, it's a pleasure to get to know you, a pleasure to chat to you. Where can people find you? I know you said you're not good at the socials, but where can they find you?
Micky Bartlett on Instagram, Micky Bartlett on TikTok. I've got a website on hold that I haven't put anything on yet. So there is a website called Micky Bartlett Comedy if you want to check it out, but there's just a picture of me, like, in a minute.
In a minute. That's great. Get people just pending.
Yeah. I've got a special on YouTube if you want to check out that bit that I was telling you about. It's called Micky Bartlett, an hour-ish, because it was only 55 minutes.
Great.
And yeah, just check that out.
Awesome, man. Micky Bartlett, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
It was fun, dude.
That was a laugh.